All right. We have prepared ourselves. Damn it, I'm not in the thing. Come on, man. Okay. Good. Now I'm in. We prepared for today. Welcome to today's Victor and Sharon show. Victor Bell Jr.
Sharon Bell.
The sex maniac, or I change it every week, right? So, but
I think that's what he wants from me because you notice I don't say that anymore.
Like,
but he keeps saying sex goddess, sex maniac.
She said it first, right? I'm just repeating it. Yes, of course. What guy doesn't want to be chained up and get the red ball in his mouth in the house?
Hopefully, this is PG.
Like kids, help your dad. So today's episode is a good one because this one is about how to deal with the highs and lows, especially as an entrepreneurial couple. Like I'm an entrepreneur, Sharon's an entrepreneur. We hustle, but it's like I feel like, and I don't know if you agree. I agree. We have very different opinions on certain things, but if you're an entrepreneur, whether both of you guys are or one of you guys are, you are going to have more highs and lows than the average random couple that go to work every day. They already know what's going to happen. They already got food pulled out from the night before. Like they have a set standard of what's happening. They got a set life. If you're an entrepreneur couple or you're a power couple together, that's not reality. We don't always know what's going to happen tomorrow. We have a plan, but that plan gets debunked the night before with some bad phone call. Oh shit, I forgot to do this yesterday. Or man, we got to get this thing done. Or something comes up that we're like, dude, this is what we've been waiting for. We got to knock this out. Right. So how do you handle the highs and lows of that? So we kind of came up with this as one of our last big bullets to the back.
Yeah, it was a definite, I think it was a pivotal point of maybe, because if you have to identify a low in your business, right?
Right.
I think this was the last low, and most recent low that we had as it relates to
financially. Yeah.
That affected our business, which then affected our finances, right?
Right. So we sold our last apartment building in Hawaii, and I had a partner. And in that deal, I had secured interest in my other deal, not a big deal. In this one, we were partners and everything was going down perfect. And I was talking to Sharon and I was like, I've done good. We got everything right. Everything's good. We're getting ready to close. We handled all of it, right? So the day before we closed, I was like, all right, good. We got email like, hey, we send you over this money, blah, blah, blah. Kind of getting things cut. And I kept telling Sharon that and I was like, man, I feel like I need to make sure that I lock up my money. Make sure that my shit can't get slid off the table through ambiguities, right? And I didn't do that. And I tell you all day that next day, checking the title company, calling my bank because money was supposed to get wired and then it didn't. And then all of a sudden, we were expecting $200 grand and some change, right? And
we got 12.
Not random, there was money we had put in that we got, but it was pennies. Now let me say something to you guys. I know everybody likes to throw around the word millions and blah 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 blah, but I don't care who you are. If you're expecting $200,000 to hit your business account and it doesn't, that fucking hurts. Mm-hmm. Man, I walked to the beach because we lived right down the street from the beach. I walked to the beach, walked back home, and I remember feeling like a total failure. No, we have been working on these deals for 7 years. We got our initial investment out. Things were going good. And it was the reality check for me, shit, dude, you fucked up. And I remember that night, I laid on the edge of the bed next to Sharon, and I don't know if you remember, but I belly cried, and apologized. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry that I put us in this situation. I felt it in my gut. If you're an entrepreneur, dude, if you're a grinder like me, you don't have these. I didn't go to college. So all of my business skills come from street smart business skills. I have gut feelings about shit when I know it and I listen to them. And when I don't, you've heard me say it too. When I don't listen to myself, dude, I get fucked all the time. So this was one of those times. And when I really stopped and thought about it, and Sharon and I talked about this, we got comfortable.
Yeah.
Most of your highs and lows in business, especially if you're a power couple player like us, is that feeling you're winning and you're ahead of the pie, you're doing better than everyone else. You're you're the stars in your little world. As you stop growing, we got comfortable.
I mean, and you got to think about it too. Rewind, 2-3 years before that, I was, doing acting and doing really good with acting and had the flexibility and the freedom to just really focus on just acting all the time. And I got to the point where I was doing more than just background acting, right? I started getting parts with speaking lines and Lifetime TV, so I was doing really, really good. And thankfully, because of the flexibility that we had from our business and having the apartments and stuff. So when that happened, when we sold that last apartment building just the beginning of last year, it was a pivotal moment for us.
We were like, okay, all right, man, we're doing this. We're gonna make a shit ton of money, but
when it didn't happen, it was kind of like, whoa, what happened?
Wait a minute.
So everything came to a screeching halt.
We had to kind of really look at this, and
one of the things that we really did notice at that moment when that happened was we had really taken our foot off the pedal, right?
Yeah.
And we noticed at that moment that we had actually got comfortable. That we were not hungry anymore for anything else because things were going good.
Yeah, life was good.
Right? So then how did we as couples, as an entrepreneurial couple, deal with this new change in our environment as it relates to not having $200,000 going into our bank account, which was affording us the flexibility and the freedom to do other things that we wanted to do.
Right. Yeah, that was big.
That was big.
Everyone that knows me now knows me through Warhorse Strength Camp, right? So if you knew me before Warhorse Strength Camp, I was always the real estate guy. I was a speaker for Dave Lindahl. I did coaching for him. Scott Shield, who else that I love? Will Duquette, all these different people. I was always the testimony of success for real estate investing, right?
You were even a coach at one time.
Right. That's what I said. So I was so far ahead as a real estate investor. I bought a ton of properties. Everyone knew who I was. I could kind of do no wrong, ironically. Yeah. And we hit the other time that we had our ups and downs was when we filed for bankruptcy. We bought an apartment complex in Cincinnati. Yeah. The project managers yanked all the money out of our account and it crushed us. I had to rebuild. So we go back to being comfortable. So it only crushed me because I took my eye off the ball. I was comfortable then too. I was winning. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, bankruptcy. Fresh out of bankruptcy, 90 days, bam. Well, we did $11 million in real estate acquisition. Raised the money, put these things together. Fast forward 10 years later, here I am comfortable all over again. Damn near to the date. 2009, 10 years comfortable. 2018, pushing up on 2019, right? So that high and low shit is coming. For everybody, it comes, right? You get comfortable. You're like, okay, I've won, I've worked my ass off, right?
It's easy to get comfortable, right? When you've got money in the bank.
Right? Business is working, all your promises have come true. You're like, shit, dude, I promised we was going to get this done. We did it. Yes. And like I said, if you're a normal couple, this may not apply to you. You have a job, you go to work every day, is what you do. But when you are writing your own script, you're living the lifetime dream of I created my own world and we're free enough to do what we want. You got to write in your story is definitely going to have some bad guy villain shit in there where the hero is chained up next to a ticking time bomb. It's happening.
Right.
So aside from that,
let's go back to the moment. Okay, so January 2018, or whatever.
2018, that January 2018,
that time frame was so that moment was okay, well now we've got to shift our minds to what are we going to do,
Right, how do we deal with this? Yeah, so prime example, I know one of the things for us, we learned this through our personal marriage problems, right? Because we had marriage problems. We were on the edge of getting divorced, like we talked about years prior to that. But it was one of the things that we were very clear on was that we don't quit each other, right? My biggest fucking pet peeve with anybody is that I put my faith in people, whether it's business because I really want to see them succeed, or I see value in somebody that they may not see yet because I'm driven and I'm like, oh shit, this person can do this, man. They're great, they're awesome, and I have all these things about them that I see. And then once we start doing something together, they quit. So with Sharon and I in our marriage, because we had decided years ago not to quit, we had built up the muscle to not quit on each other, staying in the business through bullshit, which is where most couples probably would have, if they didn't have that muscle built, they would have quit. They'd have been I don't know if I want to deal with this shit. If we had not
built that muscle from a previous time,
personal problem,
from a previous low in our personal life, we would have, that would crushed us.
Exactly. Yeah, we'd be I don't know if I want to deal with this shit, right? Future based, I don't know if I want to deal with the highs and lows of the financial thing, because let's face it, for a guy, the thing that motivates most men is money and sex, right? For women, it's security and what is it?
Emotions,
and what is it? Well, see, I'm a guy. Intimacy. Right? Intimacy is just sex for women.
Security and intimacy.
Dudes are like, that's money and sex. So the fact that we had we had one of those major influences to make people make bad decisions and good ones, money and sex. Money was on the table now. We're like, dude, all right, we have to now get back in the trenches where we haven't been in the trenches I didn't work that hard anymore. I'll be honest. I was putting people before my business and my family because I was coaching other people. So now their needs were more important than mine, technically. Right?
And you kind of got to the point too where you based off of things, your education that you were going through and people that you were talking to at that time, they were kind of leading you to believe that your passion was more than your passion to serve others was more important than...
it was more important than profit.
You know what I mean? Like,
you should want to help more people.
And he actually kind of believed that.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, maybe I should do something I'm passionate about. Helping people should be the way to go. And, I had told somebody this, and they were all weirded out by it. I was like, they were like, money's not the most important thing. And I was like, well, money is not the most important thing until you have no money. Yes. Then it becomes the only thing that's important.
Right.
You can't eat. It's really hard to want to help somebody.
Right.
So legit, everyone's like, no, businessman, we should be finding enough people to help and you'll get what you want.
And the funny thing is when we had money in the bank though, and you were helping people, we didn't really feel a sting because we had money in the bank. Yeah,
you're like, whatever.
So you actually kind of convinced yourself that,
it's okay, I got enough.
I got enough. I mean,
I don't have a scarcity mindset. I don't have a scarcity mindset. Yeah, you know what? You better be afraid of having nothing.
Yes.
And man, that may be counterintuitive, but I'd rather be afraid of having nothing, and that fear drives me to always seek something than to think it's not coming, and when it comes knocking on my door, I open it all stupid, naked, and go, "Hey, nothing, come on in, dude." That because I've been there two times in my life specifically that I know that I've been there, and it sucked. And Sharon and I talked about it. If I was single, it wouldn't be that bad, but I'm not. I got Sharon, and I got kids, and I got grandkids, and I'm going to have more kids than that. So far as my grandkids are concerned, I want to be there. So first thing we did, and hopefully this helps you guys kind of shed some light on stuff. If you guys are going through the highs and lows of maybe where you are, man, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have seasons of growth, and you're going to have seasons of stagnation too. So one, take quitting off the table. As a couple first, right? I would hate for any couple that I know that has a business, starting out having a business, you've been successful, and the success of where you are, if it takes a hit, you lose your family over it, man. I don't think that's a good thing, right? No one wants to get to the end.
And I think that's what you mean by take quitting off the table. When he says that, I automatically think in my mind, like, take quitting off the table as far as don't quit on each other. Like,
right. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you know that there is no opportunity or to throw the towel in and to say, you know what, I can't deal with this, or this is too much pressure,
right?
Or I'm out.
Yeah.
When you are with someone that you know that is not even an option in their mind, then you're able to kind of go through whatever you're going through easier.
Yeah,
and you can get through it a lot faster.
Yeah, you trust them. If you know somebody's not going to quit on you, you put your faith and trust in them, and you go, cool, man, you know what? We said all the time, we used to have this thing where I would leave to go out on business trips and come home, and like our whole house would be different. Like Sharon would buy like cars and different furniture, and I'm like, okay,
I like change.
Yeah, she does big time. And I come home like, who lives here? Did we move? But I would say the same thing. You've heard me say it thousands of times. You know what? Go ahead, man. I know you're not going to sink the ship. That's how I think about it, because I know that we're on the same page. So number two, and this was big for me, and I hate to admit it because I'm the wage war guy, is stay hungry. Like, I find the times that, because I know highs and lows are going to come anyways, right? Mm-hmm. Financially, business-wise, business growth, life things, people die, people get sick. But the times that I've had that those highs and lows have affected me, not that they didn't come, but they've affected me the most, was when I wasn't hungry anymore. When I stopped that drive that really does push me, that makes me who I am, right? Yeah.
No, it's true. I think back in the day too, when we had, because I relate highs and lows with money, right?
We all do.
And so in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, so the times when we were high and we had money in the bank, you tend to not be as hungry, right?
Yeah, you're like, dude, I'm
Because
eating
you're
already.
like, I'm eating great.
Like, let's go to this place, man. Let's buy this, man.
But when you realize that when you hit a low and you're like, whoa, the money's getting tight, or we didn't make as much money in that last, business deal.
Right, you're like, hey, how much is that?
Yeah,
no, put that back.
But then you don't realize that you've lost that hunger, or you don't realize that you've taken your focus and your eye off that ball or that prize, right?
Big time.
So, I think it's really important to realize that when things are good, right? That's when you want to still keep your foot on the pedal.
Right.
And keep going.
And here's the weird part about not being hungry no more. Sometimes you can be starving and not know because you aren't hungry.
Yeah.
Because hungry is a habit. Ooh, that's good. Hungry is a habit. If you don't make yourself, if growing and exceeding and living up to your highest potential and being the best at what you do.
And we talked about highest potential already before.
Right.
So.
If that's not a habit, you may not know that you're starving. Right? Because what was it? There's a bunch of stories about that where there's like people who've been trained to not do a certain thing, what is it? Like there could be a plate of food on the ground, and if somebody like gets shocked touching this plate, they could be shocked out of touching the plate and still die of hunger, feet next to food, but the habit is don't touch the plate, right? So
and the shocker cannot be on there anymore.
And they don't even know.
But they don't even try to go try because it's like, okay, I've been shocked too many times.
Right, yeah, I get shocked trying to get it, so I won't touch it anymore, so I'll die of starvation, even though food is there. So, I think the reverse is also true. Like, I would rather, and some people are, well, that's a scarcity mindset. Yeah, whatever. I'm not looking to define abundance and or scarcity. I'm looking to define potential.
Right.
What is my potential? Can I do more? And if so, then just go do it. I would rather want and dream and never get there than to not want and dream because of I'm like, I don't really want that. I don't need that. Well, no, I don't need anything. No one needs a $20,000 jacket.
Right.
You just want it. Which leads me to our next one. Focus on what you want, not what is. In my mind, that's how I stay hungry.
Yeah.
And you've said it before, like in our past when we first got married, I would close a deal and we'd make good money, like on some of the residential stuff. And I remember specifically, you may not remember this. I was in the shower, you were out of the shower, and I was talking to you about doing another deal. Like this other deal was coming up, and you were like, when will you just be happy and smell the roses? And I was like, I don't smell roses. I plant rose bushes for other people to smell. I don't care about taking a break. I worked this hard to get in. Why would I take a vacation out of what it took me so long to get into?
And I think that's
was a growth.
Well, I think that's a key point that you bring up though, because there were times when we did lose that. Or even for me, I lost that. Like when I was doing great and I was acting and I was, everything seemed great, and I stopped kind of pushing myself to get to the next level. Right. So I think sometimes we do tend to lose sight of the fact that we need to continue to not get complacent. I mean, it's good to celebrate and it's good to take a pause and say, okay, this was a victory.
Right.
But we need to move on to the next battle. You know what I mean? Always be moving on to the next victory.
Yeah, wage the next war, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know what? That's good because that's why it's so good to focus on what do you want. That is, Sharon and I were talking as we were writing down the notes for the show, and I was like, I'm starting to notice a pretty big narrative when I talk to people, and it's always been the same thing. It's like, so what do you want? What do you want? Not what everybody else says you should want. What do you want? And just focus on that. And then everything else of what is kind of seems to fall to the wayside. The world can be crumbling down around us, Sharon and I. Mm. But if I'm thinking we're going after what we want, man, I'm good. I don't care what's happening outside. I don't give a shit about them. I just give a shit about what I want.
Yeah.
And like I said, the moment I don't do that is when I go into being comfortable. And then when that low hits, I feel it. And I don't feel it because of, like, Sharon said it. She was like, when she talked about the money, I never really feel the loss of money because money's not real to me. I feel the loss where I failed. I look back and I go, damn, I fucked up. Like when I talk about crying on the bed, hugging Sharon, like, man, I'm sorry. The next day, literally the next day, I'm big on forgiving myself. Big. I was like, hey, good job, Kevin. Good job. That was the law of the jungle. You hear me say it all the time. Business is different. Everyone likes to make business this win-win. It's not win-win. It's I win, you make sense of what's left. The law of the jungle says if I go in for the kill and I take my eyes off of my kill, it's going to get drug off by a bunch of other animals.
It's game for someone else.
It is. And it doesn't mean that I'm not willing to help feed you. but I still gotta eat,
Yeah.
right? So like I have to still be fair and aware is what I like to call it. Be fair, be aware, right?
So with that being said, though, I think one of the biggest things that we did in this last year, and it's funny because it's like kind of a habit that you have, babe.
I do.
He has this thing where like he's talking about loss, and then the next day he's like, "Okay, I forgive myself," and then he comes in and he's like, "Okay, I've got an even bigger plan."
Oh yeah.
You know, and I'm like, really? So
you're like, you don't
is
want to just
that
get
what
back
you
what we
got
lost?
out of this? Is that we need to go bigger?
I'm like, fine, we lost $200,000. Now we needed to make $2 million, so the $200,000 never affects us again.
Yeah.
What do we do to do that? Who do I need to call? What do we need to do? Which is why we packed all our shit, sold everything, and moved to California. Because I was like, what I want to build here is not going to happen. I've already done this here. We've already won here. We've taken some lumps. We've taken some wins.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for us, it's time to move on so we can really hit the next thing. So the next thing for us, as it relates to like how do you deal with the highs and lows, right? Was if something goes wrong, go bigger, right?
Yeah, his motto is go home, go big, or go home, and if things go bad, go bigger.
Right. It's like, dude, you know what? Don't worry about it. Because it does a couple things, at least for me, right? And for you guys to consider this, you know, as a in the business of marriage, like managing your marriage as a couple, like entrepreneurs, it's a business. Like if you really think about your biggest problem right now,
Mm-hmm.
is it really that big?
Yeah.
Based on two things. What you want versus where you are as a problem. What do you really want as a couple? Well, we want to have, you know, a $50 million organization. We want to be this. We want to do this with our family. Blah, blah, blah. Let's say you have a dip within the timeline of that. And then you go, cool, you know, maybe $50 million was too small for us. Maybe that wasn't what we should have been gunning for. Because if we hit a problem gunning for $50 million, what would happen if we went for a $1 billion company? What would that look like? For me, I stopped dreaming that big, right? We're in Hawaii. I hit a certain part where I opened Warhorse. I went to Champion, and then I stopped. I have billionaire printed on my ID card case.
You do.
I do. And I forgot until we were staying at the hotel in California when we got here, and I pulled this case out, and I was like, what do I want? New. What's the next Victor? What's the next frontier for me? And I pulled that case out, and I just happened to be going for my ID card, and I saw the front of it, and it said billionaire. And I was like, holy shit. This has been my dream since I got into the real estate game 20 years ago, and I've not done it. As a matter of fact, I've not focused on it. All of my problems have now come because I'm not thinking big enough. And I was like, holy shit. And I told Sharon, I was like, that's where we're headed. And then because I said $1 billion, I said, let's just go for 2. I ran the numbers. What were they? $250,000 a door at 8,000 apartment units, which is about right.
Mm-hmm.
That puts us at $2 billion in real estate holdings. That was the new number in my head right now. Now, do I have resources to do that?
Not right now.
Not right now.
You know what? It's baby
But that's where I'm
steps,
going.
right?
I'm putting in offers on
Foot's on the
properties. Yep, I'm making things. I was like, hey, we're going to get known. In order for us to do that, we got to be around enough people. We need to be in a situation to where we can succeed.
Yep.
No more hiding. No more hiding what we actually want. So, what do we want? Not where it is. That's what we're doing. And what did I say? If something goes wrong, go bigger.
Yeah, and I think with all of these little tidbits of information that we're sharing with you as it relates to what we did for us to kind of go from that low to where we are now. Because if you think about it, it's like with that low that we experienced, you would think that we would have a different mindset today.
We'd be in a mode of protection.
We'd be in a mode of protection.
It's kind of like make sure this never happens.
But again. You know what helped us is regardless of whether our environment changed positive or negative, because you're going to have highs and you're going to have lows.
Right.
And we're focusing on the lows, but remember I also mentioned earlier that when we did have the highs, when I was acting and doing all these great things, these 4 things still have to remain whether you're experiencing a high or low in your business, right? One, like he's saying, is the minute you take quitting off the table, then you can do the next 3 things,
open.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything's open. So don't quit, stay hungry, stay focused, and then go big. So that's really what has helped us.
Yeah.
From the last really big blow that we had.
Right. That's funny. I have my finger in my mouth. I know my granddaughter Maya is like, you wash your hands.
You wash your hands, Grandpa. But yeah, so those 4 things really have helped us in the last, I'd say, couple of times that we've hit some dips in our business or our relationship, is that we constantly go back to these 4 things and we remind ourselves, The minute that we haven't been focused, or the minute that we haven't been hungry, or we thought about quitting, those were the moments that we were like, whoa, we actually didn't come back from our blow or whatever. We didn't come back as fast, right? Or we didn't recover as quickly. Yeah. Right, but the minute
we're stuck in the situation in our minds, but it had
But the minute that we were able to get back on instead saying, okay, wait, this is not us. This is what we need to do. Okay, 1, we're not quitting. 2, we're going to stay focused on what we want.
Right.
3, we're not hungry anymore, so let's get hungry again. Right. Yeah. And then let's come up with a bigger plan. It always works for us, and so
I'll be honest with you. If you ever see us in that moment where we're like catching ourselves, we look like the penguins of Madagascar. We're like, high five, bro. Yeah, because we're always
it's a big, huge revelation for us.
It is. It is. It's like, it's like being in a slump and someone kind of like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah. They were like, you're right. And then all of a sudden there's this big shift. Now, like we said, that's why we said focus on what you want, not what is, because technically nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
But we've changed. Yeah. And every time we're able to change faster, then we can change what's really happening around us. And before you know it, we look around and we're like, oh shit, look where we are, look what we've achieved. That's the difference. So if you're a couple, if this helps you, I think taking a step back on wherever you are, whether you're an entrepreneurial couple, this is for success-driven entrepreneurial couples. Yes. I'm not even going to open the door for people who don't care about this stuff, right? But like the reality of it is dude, like you are going to have your highs and lows. Maybe you're just starting, or maybe you haven't started and you're talking about it. Maybe this is the leap you're going to make, or maybe you're way past anywhere where we would ever be. And the reality of it is, no matter how far you get forward, you're still going to have something because we're all human, right? We go through the same basic shit, and we all have expectations. And when those expectations aren't met, what happens? I get pissed. I'm not even going to pretend like I'm a positive dude, but I get pissed. But I'm quiet. I go work out, slam my sandbag around. And then I come out of there and I go, you know what? I just meant that wasn't for me. I'm going to fucking go bigger.
There you go.
All the time. Sharon's like, great.
And, I've developed a lot of different muscles over the years, right?
Yep.
And I think the biggest one for me is the concept of going bigger. Because I didn't used to take failure very lightly. Yeah. Much less say, okay, well, slap yourself and wake up and keep going. Like that really took time for me to develop that muscle. And now for me to even think that I can like change my mind like within a matter of seconds, when before it used to take days, sometimes even months. And now it's kind of like I can find myself when I get into a moment where when I'm focusing more on the failure than I am on the solution, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, snap out of it, and get back to our 4 tips, that we use constantly. That's proven us.
For sure. And this matters too, because like, I don't, everybody tries to pretend like this doesn't cross over, but it does, because like when I'm not happy business-wise, I'm definitely not engaged with my kids.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll be like, we can be all in the car together, and I'm like quiet, looking out the window.
And we know it's something's on.
My kids know, and like I'm like, hey, dude, and I'm notorious. I'm like, hey, guys, my bad, bro. I had a lot of shit on my mind today, so it wasn't that I wasn't paying attention to you guys, but I did have a lot of stuff on my mind. And now they know me enough to be like, no, Dad, it's okay. I know you're dealing with something, but it's not okay. But my boys understand. So when I said that to say like that affects everything. It affects everybody. So even though you may have a great family life, and entrepreneurs, your kids all understand, and you're going to go back and forth, and you're going to bump heads and hit against the wall because of business problems, and you think they don't know, they do. So the quicker you can come out of this and go bigger, stay hungry, keep that driving force going for you guys as a couple to keep going, building the businesses that you got, it makes our kids happier.
Yes.
When we're happier, we're achieving, our kids are happier and achieving. They have no idea what the fuck we do.
Yeah.
Right? Because they do, but they don't. They just.
I think they just think that we like being in front of the camera and talking.
Yeah, or like they even go to the properties. Do we have to go? But for them, they've been around it. They see it enough. But when we're miserable because the highs and low part, they also see that, and the quicker we can come around to being better, the better it is for everybody.
And I think for me, for my close, is I just want to let all of my friends and colleagues out there, all you power couples out there that are married and trying to do great things in your businesses. I think the biggest tip for me, though, for you is to, first of all, just if you haven't developed these muscles yet, because like I was just mentioning, it's taken me a long time. Just get to the point where you don't quit. Yeah. I think that's the number one. Like, don't quit on yourself, don't quit on your partner, don't quit on your business, don't quit on your dreams. Get that and develop that muscle first, and then you can work on the other 3. They'll come into play. But I think if you just really focus on not quitting, you'll find yourself being in a committed marriage and staying together, and then being able to work through any of your business challenges that you might have.
Because your marriage is a business too. Like if every time you have a problem with your business partner, if you're like, that's it, we're gonna close the business.
Yeah, or we're gonna quit. I'm done. I'm out. I can't do this anymore.
You can't always defunct your business. You and your business partner need to be on the same plan, at least for the direction of the marriage as a business. And everybody says, hey, look, this is my skill set. This is my skill set. This is my contribution, and we're staying true to that by not quitting on each other's roles. So, dude, I hope this helps you.
Yes, because it's helped me.
Yeah, me too. Because I'm like, what do we do? How do we handle shit? And it's always it's big for us to be like, hey, how did we handle that?
Yeah.
Because we're just in momentum all the time. But I guess if I try to say, great, how can we do something like this where 1, it'll help us, 2, it'll help other people, and 3, man, if my kids and grandkids and then watch this later, I want them to be proud of us, to be like, dude, we watched you guys' stuff like when you guys were younger. First, Sharon was hot. She's old and whatever now. You look the same though, Granddad.
And again, we want to help thousands of people
with our show that is not quite the Dave Chappelle show,
not quite,
just as funny.
but just as funny.
Yeah, so again, what do we say?
Well, it wasn't so funny as today, but
that shit was funny. What are you talking about? You guys think this is funny? Comment, right? But anyway, share this with a couple that needs to see it. Maybe some couples out there are struggling to stay together. With my thumb. Struggling to stay together. Maybe they're on the edge of leaving. Maybe they feel like they're so different that one person is running and gunning in the business and leaving the other person behind. Maybe and it could be anybody, whatever it is for you guys. But if this helps, I really hope it does. Share it with somebody who needs it, and keep watching this thing because we're going to keep doing it. We're committed to that. All right, so again, we're doing this so we help you guys win. We want you guys to succeed more than anything. And we're signing off for today's show.
Yes.
Yeah. With To Your Wins.
To Your Wins.
Boom.